the Trump administration's illegal actions regarding Garcia. They're already getting their asses handed to them in court, Supreme Court 9-0 decision. Now it's going back to lower courts. A conservative judge appointed by Ronald Reagan had the following to say to the Trump administration. Judge Wilkinson, conservative appellate judge, in his opinion on the Abrego Garcia case, it is difficult in some cases to get to the very heart of the matter. But in this case, it's not hard at all. The government is asserting a right to stash away residents of this country in foreign prisons without the semblance of due process that is the foundation of our constitutional order. Further, it claims in essence that because it has rid itself of custody, that there is nothing that can be done. And the Heath Mayo that tweets this says, this should be shocking not only to judges, but to the intuitive sense of liberty that Americans far removed from courthouses still hold dear. And this is so true. This is such a point for us that we have to fight for all of these people that have been deported. There are reports that 80% of them have no criminal record, and our government is sending them to a concentration camp. All the while, we're being propagandized by the Trump administration and all of the crazy, cruel, nasty stuff that they say. Meanwhile, Trump is constantly in front of the camera talking about what a victim he is, whining and crying, droning on. He's just this perpetual victim that is completely incapable of running a business, much less the United States of America. Next up, Trump, we have these shootings all over the United States all of the time. And this is a uniquely American problem, gun violence. It's very simple. If we reduced the amount of guns in our communities, we would reduce gun violence. But Republicans won't do it. They will not do it. And I want to remind you that these are the pro-life Jesus people, and they talk about how they want to help kids all the time, and they think that there's this army of trans people that are coming to brainwash your kids. There's no record that any of that has ever happened. And meanwhile, these guns and this gun violence happens all the time. And this week alone, Dallas and now Florida State University, here's Trump in the Oval talking about gun violence.
We're learning that there are now 2 deceased following that shooting at Florida State University. Following and amid that, is there any changes that you want to see to gun legislation? Anything you see broken with gun laws in our country?
I'm going to have to look. I'm a big advocate of the Second Amendment. I have been from the beginning. I protected it, and these things are terrible. But the gun doesn't do the shooting. The people do. It's a phrase that's used probably too often. I will tell you that. It's a shame. I'm just hearing about it now. I just hear about it. I know the area very well. I know the school very well. I know everything about it. It's Florida.
Okay. This is so insulting for any American who has loved somebody that has died from gun violence. I've shared with you all that we had a young man named Javi Morales that worked for me for 6 years for my interior design studio. This October, he was shot in gun violence. He was robbed in a parking lot, and it has been devastating. And I can tell you this, if there hadn't been a gun in that robber's hand, Javi would be alive. It's that simple. These stupid kids make these stupid decisions with guns, and this is a uniquely American problem. And that's the answer from the President of the United States, because he is a psychopath, he is a malignant narcissist, and he doesn't give a shit. I don't even think he'd give a shit if his own kids were shot. He doesn't care about anyone but himself, and just nurturing his grievances on the world stage all the time. And how these insecure MAGA men don't see him as being the biggest titty baby on the planet is beyond me. I have never in my life heard a grown man whine and complain as much as this man does. Okay, then he goes from guns, and this is all in the Oval yesterday. Then he starts talking about fisheries and lobsters. And in this clip, he links lobsters to how he wants to be a dictator. Only he could do this. Watch this.
They do something similar. I think it's like 500 miles or something, some crazy thing. And Canada goes and they fish there. Other people fish there. Europe fishes there. The Maine lobster. You can't get Maine lobsters because Maine's forced to go for days out to some other area that's not as good. We have to free that up too.
We'll have that on your desk next week, I promise.
The Maine lobster, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
You did it last time, and they undid it.
Canada fishes there. No, we're not allowed to. Yeah, I did it last time in Maine, and they undid it. That's why we have to stay president for a long time.
So there he is talking about the lobsters in Maine. He had an executive order before, and then one of his little aides is saying, well, Biden undid it. And then he says, yeah, that's why we have to stay president for a long time. And then everybody just claps. And living in a red state, I can tell you that for years, I heard this mantra from Republicans who are now all MAGA. They've all been radicalized by Fox News. But their whole thing is I'm a fiscal conservative and I'm socially liberal and I love the Constitution. It's all bullshit. These people on the inside are completely hollow. They follow the rage, and Fox News feeds them rage day in and day out. And they finally birthed the most raged, grievance-filled man on the planet. And they all worship him. They all worship him. They're willing to rip up the Constitution, get rid of democracy, to simply own the libs because there's nothing in them. They're completely hollow, and they get their orders from Fox News. Some of them take bigger hits off of like the Daily Wire, and it's just a personality cult that has ruined our country, destabilized the global markets. All right, next up, we have MAGA and Trump, and here's a video about how they are just perpetual victims all the time. The victimhood thread is constant with MAGA.
We're also finding that many people, just having to do with Trump support, have gone through hell. And they've used the IRS for purposes of something that's very illegal for them to have to do.
What are you trying to
It's a very very, very illegal thing to do, what they did. And
so what he was talking about there is they asked him about Harvard, and he's wanting to now remove Harvard's tax-exempt status. And he says, well, I had a dinner last night with a bunch of evangelical preachers, and they told me the IRS had targeted them under Biden, and they've been treated so unfairly. Well, if that happened, it's because these evangelical preachers are total grifters, just like him. But what he's saying here is not only is he a victim, but anybody who defended him is now a victim. And I just want to say, these guys are the ones that weaponize and beat up on marginalized people. If these people of faith that he had at dinner in the Blue Room, if they really were Jesus followers of the Jesus character in the Bible, if that was their guy, they would be fighting for the marginalized people that this administration beats up on, but they don't. And he offers them a permission structure to do it. Again, these people follow the rage and follow the victimhood, and they act like they are, completely persecuted all of the time. Meanwhile, they use their religion to weaponize against women, against Black people, against immigrants, against the LGBTQ plus community. It is disgusting. And finally, here is just another display of how abhorrent and disgusting and embarrassing this man is, talking about the cop beaters that broke into the Capitol and took a shit in there and tried to attempt a coup for this man who claims he's so butch and he's so macho, yet he wears orange makeup every single day. Here he is talking about the January 6th people that he, quote unquote, freed.
The January 6th and all of that, we freed the people. They were treated so badly. There's never been, there have been some pretty bad instances, but there's probably never been anything like what happened with the people from January 6th, who are largely, and there's always exceptions, but largely great patriots for this country.
Okay, it's just enough. It's so nauseating that he's trying to propagandize what we all saw with our own eyes. We no longer live in a democracy. We live in a propagandized, authoritarian government, and he continues with this jet stream of bullshit all the time. The January 6th people beat up cops, yet MAGA's like, we stand with the blue. These people are completely broken, and they find some sense of community in this personality cult because it feeds them rage. And instead of them looking inward and fixing what's broken in them, maybe they had a fucked up childhood or what have you, MAGA says, here's the problem. It's these trans people. It's the immigrants. It's the DEI programs. It's the women. It's the gays. And they like it because then they can avoid personal accountability. And then they have a man who is the biggest whining titty baby victim on the planet that serves them up rage. Here's who you hate. And guess what? You get to be a victim on top of it. All right. That's another uplifting news story in the United States of America today. We'll see you all later.